I don't know, 280th wine tasting. Virtual, it feels like. I don't know if you guys saw my email today, or Tara and I's email today, but I put in there that maybe we need to give the wine drinkers a break, and we're going to do some beer. Oh, look at the cowboy hats. Can I get one? Give the wine drinkers a break. We're going to do a beer tasting next week. So we lined up 5 breweries. I think the first one might be Flathead Brewing up in Kalispell. We got Elysian, which is a big national brand out of Seattle, right? Mm-hmm. And we've got Bozone out of Bozeman, Red Lodge out of Red Lodge. And I said in the email, I'm going to ask him if there is a Red Lodge or not, but I don't think there is. And what's Lewis and Clark out of Helena. And we got to but talk to the brewers and the winemakers, the brewmasters, and the owners, and we're gonna have fun next week with beer. And I'm not much of a beer drinker, so we're gonna give it a try, see what goes on. Fifth and Wine sold about 17 mac and cheeses today. I told you guys it was gonna happen. You all didn't get together like you said you might, and Zoom and decide who's gonna order what and when. So again, other than you guys doing this, you failed us miserably one more time on the timing of orders. I'm the only person in the world that would complain about orders. Let me see what else we got going. We've got some, next week I'm working on a special. We've got some smoked pork that I want to do something. I tried to do a little pita pocket today with that, but that didn't work out. We'll figure something out with that smoked pork. That'll be our special for next week. Anything else, Tara, that you can think of? No? You don't want to talk. You just want to shake your head.
I'm telling people how hard it is to find good help right now.
Mm-hmm. You're 50% owner. You should at least contribute a little bit. I mean, I did all the work today while you sat around and drank wine.
Yeah.
We had a really good day, actually. Sold lots of those beer tastings. We did, I think maybe 10 or 12, something like that already, and it's only been out for a couple hours. So, yeah. I think it'll be really fun. I don't know anything about beer, but I'm going to learn about beer. Damn it. Let me see. I think that's about it. So we have a really fun winemaker on tonight, or wine rep on tonight. It's 2:30 in the morning where he's at. He's in Spain. And I talked to him about that. Scoot, turn your hat around. I talked to him about that, and he said, it's no big deal at all. It's like, we're Spanish. We don't even eat till midnight. He probably just got done with, his dinner an hour ago and had a couple of glasses of wine. And I got to talk to him today for a while. So I'm going to tell a couple of quick stories before he gets on, because I like to tell stories. So he's from Pamplona, I think. He'll tell us for sure. But Pamplona, we all know from the running of the bulls. And we've been there. And it's not anything like you think it is. It is a very modern city, other than they just kept that one street that looks like it's really old, and everything else is interesting. And we had a great time. And then I was talking to Javier earlier today, and we talked about Logroña, which is a town right near his family's winery. And there's a street, and he'll tell us what the name of the street is. That's, I think, 80 some tapas bars. It's closed down. It's just walking. At least it was then, walking, and you just walk door to door. And I was with this kid.
I like topless bars.
Right, tapas. Lewis, Lewis, use your chat. Don't be breaking in. I was with this young kid, and he's fun and gregarious and big smile. And and Javier can probably talk about this a little bit, but that's kind of the region of, help me, Javier, what's the French and the Spanish region that are kind of combined, and they kind of consider themselves a separatist of Spain or France. What's the group called?
The Basque Country.
The Basque Country,
Basque
that's
Country.
correct.
So they're a bunch of big rangy Basque, and I'm semi-tall at whatever, 6'1", and they probably were 6'4", 6'5", big bruisers. And they bumped into this kid I was with, and I'm like, oh, this isn't going to go well. You know, like we're in a foreign country, we don't speak their language. And they bumped into him, and he turned around and flashed a big smile, and we partied the rest of the night with him. We had so much fun, and we went bar hopping, tapas bar hopping, and so we had so much fun. And so I told Javier that usually we start out with who he is and where he's from and how he got in the wine business, but his family and his importing business and his story is so intertwined with the winery that I thought maybe we'd start just with a tour. If you can give us a virtual tour of your hometown and your home area and that to start with, just tell us the story of that, please.
Absolutely, yes. So thank you everybody to join us, and thank you for having me tonight. Well, I belong to, as you say, Pamplona is my city. I have some pictures, but maybe I cannot share the screen. Is that possible, or is better to just to show the areas in Spain?
Yeah, Tara can make you a co-host.
I did.
So you can share now. You know, have you done that before? Sharing on Zoom?
I'm gonna try. I think it's easy.
Even at 2:30 in the morning.
Even at 2:30 in the morning, and the first time for me doing this, right? Let's see, because I have in my desktop, I have all the pictures.
Javier, I'm worried it might slow everything down. You're kind of freezing on us right now. Oh, there we go.
Do you see something now, or just me?
Not yet. So far, it just said started screen sharing. But you know, we have some time.
You didn't see anything, right? You didn't have the chat.
I think we'll have to probably skip that. I think it's just too far and the internet's too slow, probably. Well, maybe. There you go. Nice.
Okay. Okay, so this is Spain. This is the capital, which is Madrid. And these are the main three regions in Spain, and the regions that we are based. The number 2 is the Ribera, and the number 3, here is the coast. The number 3 is the Rias, the Albarino, where the Lagar, the Indra comes. So my city is a place here between the Pyrenees and Rioja region, and this is where Pamplona is located. So all the way up north in Spain. So from Madrid to the north is like 3.5, 4 hours driving. It's not that far. So in that region, well, I would say in every single region in Spain, our culture, the way that we live is going outside, having a glass of wine, chatting with people, enjoying wine, relaxing a lot, not working too much, but well, just, you know, enjoying life, right? This is what we usually do. As you say, in Logroño, the main street, the main road is called, where all the bars are located, is very fun because people go bar after bar having a glass of wine, because glass of wine in Spain is very cheap. You pay like €1. It's cheaper than Coke and cheaper than almost water. So for people, it's easy to go outside and to have a nice glass of wine. So that's our culture. That's what we do. So here you have, these are the regions. Rioja, which is the main region in Spain, Ribera del Duero, which is the second one, and the Albarino Rías Baixas, which is the wine that we're gonna taste tonight, is in that location. So here is Portugal and here is Spain. So those are the main things that we do. So the street that you were talking about in Logroño is called Laurel. Laurel is the main street. So I invite anyone who is watching me tonight, if they are almost going to Spain, or they're going to go visit somebody in Spain when this thing, goes away, they can come visit us, and I will be, delighted to show them our culture. So,
Javier, maybe you could talk about kind of you personally, and then your family history and your kind of your importing company and where you live in the U.S. and why you're stuck in Spain right now.
Yeah,
not stuck.
well,
I mean, it's a great place to be. But.
yeah. Well, so I am definitely from Spain. You can tell because of my Brooklyn accent. I am an engineer. Believe it or not, I am a structural engineer. I used to calculate structures for the buildings. But many years ago, I met my wife when I was in college. So my wife and her sister, they are both the fourth generation of this winery, of this family. So fourth generation producing wines, they started in 1882. So those days when I met her, well, those days I used to just enjoy wine. I used to love wine, enjoy wine as a consumer. So when I had the chance to be part of the family and understand the culture and see, all the many things that you can do for the wine business and, to chat people and to promote the product, then I had this project that we were thinking about, why don't we, move to United States, which is a great country, it's a huge country, and start building up the brand from the ground level. Absolutely ground level, no connections, no nothing. So I remember those days for somebody like me, somebody like us, going to the US with no idea about how the market works, thinking that you had the only unique and the best wine in the world. So it was going to be so easy to, promote and sell and do these things. So I remember when I arrived to the US and said, well, this is going to take longer than what I expected because this country is huge. Only the state of Texas is 3.5 times Spain, only one state. So it's like coming to a huge world for us in the industry, in this business. So, but it was nothing about business. It was more about passion. It was more about, well, I have to bring somebody, my story, my family, my wines, explain them, try to transmit how we make the wine, because people want to know more about how we make the wine. And that's what we did. So we moved into the US. We based in New Jersey, in Jersey City. That was convenient for us because from Spain to Jersey City, it was very easy and direct flight. And from Jersey City, what we have been doing for the last almost 10 years is traveling, visiting, doing tastings, promoting and explaining people how, as a family, we make the wines and how we try to offer something different. So that's our story and my personal story. So moving from the numbers at the engineering all the way to, having a nice glass of wine and a nice chat with people.
Right. So tell us about the generational, how long has it been? You said 3 generations?
4 generations. Actually, I have a 2-year-old son. So he's going to be the 5th generation. So 4 generations producing the wines. We started in Rioja region. That's where we started in 1882. And then we expanded into the Ribera del Duero and the Rías Baixas, which is the white wine, the Albarino. The reason why the winery decided to expand is because when you are able to offer more than one region coming from one family, people feel comfortable. When people get to know you, just trying one wine, could be a white wine or Rioja, and they see the quality, it becomes easy for us if we offer other regions for people to enjoy and see how the family makes things. And another thing that we try to do, and we do, is we own the vines, we own the vineyards, and that is critical. This is so important because you take care from the grapes, from the plant, all the way to the final customer. So taking care of all those levels in the wine business is like you are making sure that you are offering like a, you know, great wine, good quality wine, and people appreciate that. I mean, going there, sharing with them the way that we grow the grapes and the way that we take care of the whole process is family business. So family business, one day you are selling and tomorrow you are loading a truck and next day you are in the vineyard. So you do many, many things. So it's fun.
Well, tell us about the regions that are Tempranillo, Rioja, Ribera del Duero, and Rias Baixas, which you already talked about with the white. But why? Tell us about the different terroir or the different growing seasons, or why they grow different grapes in those regions, or kind of that whole story.
Well, the Tempranillo is the main grape in Rioja. Rioja, which is up north, is one of the most popular regions in the United States. Almost everyone knows about Rioja. Tempranillo is the main grape. And I have one picture, if that is okay, yes, to show you the difference between the vineyards in Rioja and the vineyards in Rias Baixas Albarino. So in Rioja, can I share that picture with you guys?
Yeah,
is
please
that okay?
do.
Yeah, so let me, because it's very, I mean, when you see that, let me show you Rioja first.
Everybody knows about chat, right? While he's putting the picture up, make sure you get on the chats, and if you have questions for
Yes. Can you see the picture of the vineyards?
yes,
So do you see the vineyards now, or?
yes. And where is
Okay.
this at?
So this is the
Rioja?
Rioja region. So as you see, the soil is very poor. Rioja, this is Rioja. So the soil is very poor, is a clay. And as you see, the plants are very close to the ground, right? So here we have the mountains. These mountains are called Sierra Cantabria, and the mountains are protecting the vineyards. So when we have like stores coming to the vineyards, those mountains protect and avoid that the hailstorm that could destroy the grapes maintains all those away from vineyards. So the reason of this region looks like this is because you don't have much rain. Because you don't have much rain, that's why the soil is, you have this clay. Wherever it rains, the water stays there. If I show you now Rias Baixas, can you see that picture?
Yep.
Well, completely different.
Wow.
From the ground, and the reason why is because the grapes are going to be hanging from here. If it's raining a lot and if you have a lot of water, you need that the wind is gonna, wipe out the grapes. Otherwise, the plant and the grapes wouldn't survive because of the water. So the soil, the weather, and the plant is connected. That's why it works, and that's why here in Rias Baixas in Albarino, this white grape grows like this here. So those are the main differences. Make sense?
It's beautiful in Rias Baixas. I've never been. I've been the other parts of Spain, but is Rias
Right.
Baixas, it's coastal region, right?
Yeah. Well, Rias Baixas is becoming very, very popular right now in United States. You can come across with people that they are not familiar with this grape, but it is amazing how the taste of the Albarino catches people attention in the United States. It is amazing. I mean, it used to be Rioja #1 sale in the US, and now I can tell you it's Rias Baixas the #1 sale, because people are discovering it's a new wine, a new product, and they love it because it's something new, something different. We also produce a white wine in Rioja, But comparing both, when you are tasting with people, it is amazing. I mean, people go with the Rias Baixas taste, with the Albarino, because of the acidity, because of the kind of wine. Rioja, white wine from Rioja is like another white wine. That's the difference. So let me see if I have another.
Am I off mute?
Yep.
Yes, I'm off mute. So one of my questions always is, especially we had a winemaker from Chile on, I think a couple weeks ago. And obviously when you're traveling abroad, sometimes you get food that you're not used to as an American. And so, and I know that happens a lot in your region of the world. So explain tapas a bit, and then maybe what you would do if you were going to fix something tonight with this wine, or maybe you did already, I don't know, but of give us an insight into the Spanish mentality of,
Nice.
yeah, there you go.
I already did. Well, the tapas thing in Spain, well, many people, they don't know why we call tapas wine. So I'm going to explain, and then I'm going to show you what tapa is.
Nice.
So tapa is a Spanish word, okay? So tapa means a lid. So many years ago, people used to go to the bars and they used to order a glass of wine. So what happened those days, many years ago, is that when you order a glass of wine and you leave the wine open, you can have insects coming in. So they used to use cheese as a tapa to avoid, having all these flies and all these insects coming in. So that's why if you translate tapa is like a lid, something that you cover the glass to avoid all of those. So that's what happened many years ago. Now, what happened is that people used to ask a glass of wine and a piece of cheese, or a tapa. That many years ago used to cover that, but now people eat the tapas. And now everything is evolving in such a way that I'm talking about 30 years ago, 40 years ago, you used to order a glass of wine and they used to give you a tapa for free. But now you have to pay for everything, right? Like in the US, you have to pay for everything. So if you want a tapa, you have to order the glass of wine and the tapa as well. And
then paella, we got to talk about that, because when my son Jacob, who's on this tonight, he and I went to, can't remember, it was in Barcelona, or it was actually in Vilanova. You know where that is, just on the coast south of Barcelona. And we went to a tapas, went to a restaurant, and they had a giant paella pan in the middle of the restaurant, and then you would just go up and you would get just a nice plate of, usually seafood in your world. Is that true? And tell us about
yes.
Paella too, please.
Well, paella is a great food. You can cook paella with seafood. You can cook paella with vegetables. We can cook paella with meat. But paella, I would say, is an excuse for the families to gather every Sunday. Spanish people, we are very close, and we stay with the family forever, but very close. When I'm saying very close is that if you don't call your mom almost every day, what is wrong with you, son? Why are not you calling me today? Mom, we talked yesterday. Yeah, but I want to talk to you today as well. Okay, that's fine. So that's what usually happens. And every Sunday, all the families gather. Your brothers, cousins, all the family gathers. So the paella is the great meal, the perfect meal to cook in a big pan, as you say, and everybody, takes the paella. To me, the pairing with the Albarino paella is one of the best pairings. It's an easy food. You don't need, with this wine, you don't need something heavy, super heavy. So you need something light, like paella, that you can eat. And it's very easy. And as I said, in many houses, many homes in Spain, every Sunday you have like a big paella. Could be for your family, could be with your neighbors. It's always an excuse to gather and share a wine and nice food.
One of the silver linings to the coronavirus and COVID-19 in America is I think it's forced us all back into that. When I grew up as a kid, I grew up in a really small town, 200, 300 people, and we did family all the time, or just neighbors would pop in. And when you go to these small towns in Spain and Italy and France, like it feels like you guys still do that way more than we do. And now I've had my kids over and my grandkids over enough that I'm tired of it, and I think they should stay home, but they still just keep coming. So anyway, I think that is a silver lining to this. I think we reconnected as families and yeah, close friends and stuff. So
Yep, that's true. Yep.
so I guess we have a lot of other wines that are available to us that your family makes and imports. So maybe you could tell us just kind of what your favorites are. I don't know if you have favorites, but tell us some of the other wines, and then we'll get into the Albarino.
Well, every family, every winery, they have their own style. So something that I learned is that in wine, there is nothing wrong and nothing right. There are some things that are wrong or not tasting good, but what I'm trying to say that in similar family, similar qualities, it's all about the style. Rioja, in red wines in Rioja region, producers used to make wine having like a strong taste of the oak for the wines. And yeah, you almost feel a piece of wood in your mouth.
In the American oak mostly, right, Javier?
American oak. So usually we use American and French oak depending how long you keep the wine in oak. For example, when you are aging a wine in less than 5 years, you always use American oak. Actually, we're using from Illinois, and the reason why is because the American oak punches the grape in such a good way that you get and extract all the flavors from the Tempranillo, rather than the French oak that is going to give you this roundness, this velvet, this very smooth taste. So for wines that are aged for a long time, the French oak does a very good job. In our winery, we love to go with old vintages because it gives you credibility. So actually we have a Gran Reserva 2005 vintage that is in the market, also a Gran Reserva 2000, and that gives you credibility.
Not to get too technical, sorry, but I know there's levels, Crianza, Reserva, Gran Reserva. So
Correct.
after we're done with this, will you kind of talk about that?
Yeah, so depending in Spain, the way that we qualify the wines depending how long you keep in oak. So if you keep the wine for 3 months in oak, we call the joven. If you keep the wine for 12 months in oak, we call them crianza. And if you have the wine for 3 years between oak and bottle, you call reserva. And for a 5 years process between oak and bottles, minimum 2 years in oak and 3 years in bottles, we call a Gran Reserva. So the difference in Spain is very confusing. We are used to this, but the difference in Spain is when you go to the bar and ask for a wine, you don't ask for a specific wine, you ask for a type of wine. Give me a Crianza, give me a Reserva, give me a Gran Reserva. So they know exactly what kind of wine are you looking for, which could be like a super heavy Gran Reserva or a young wine or a Crianza, which is something you can have every day. So with tapas, joven or Crianza are the main wines that they're gonna serve you.
Nice. So we talked about Rias Baixas already, and you showed us the picture of where it is. It's right above Portugal. It's the seafood capital of Spain. Like lots of seafood comes from there, which is what
Yep.
we took a second bottle because I don't know, because we like to drink wine, and we're going to have that later with the halibut that she's making, Kathy. But people are asking kind of about what the taste you're getting out of it, and we talked earlier. Maybe you could first tell us in Spanish, we're Americans, we just like to hear accents, and so can you kind of give us the tasting notes that you're getting and the aromas and in Spanish, and then tell us in American. We don't care about those English anymore. We're calling it.
I like that. Well, the good thing is that if I don't know if somebody speaks Spanish or not, but you're gonna test my English. After 10 years, I should be fluent in English. But I can say anything in Spanish. If you don't understand, that's fine. So Albarino, and Rías Baixas. Rías Baixas is the region and Albarino is the grape. Se trata de un vino con mucha acidez. Este Albarino es muy fácil de beber, muy sencillo y se puede beber con comida o sin comida. So what I said is that it has a high acidity and it's a very mild Albarino. So you can find in the market heavier Albarinos, like more complex, más complejos. But the reason is that we don't like to go extreme in complexity. We want people to enjoy like the green apple aftertaste, la manzana verde, que es lo que decimos en España, is what we say in Spain, the green apple, the manzana verde. So it's the perfect wine to pair with not only seafood, also with spicy meals, because the high acidity, to me, the high acidity with the spiciness in the meals works very good. And as what you say is right, let me tell you something. You can find Albarinos coming from Spain. You can find Albarinos coming from Portugal and Albarinos coming from, believe it or not, California. But it is amazing how different the Albarino is going to taste. So California with Portugal and Spanish are completely different, but Albarinos from Spain and Portugal, even if they have the Atlantic, the same weather conditions, the soil is different. So Albarinos from Portugal are more like Vino Verde, that style, rather than from Spain, which is this green apple aftertaste, very crisp, very refreshing, easy to drink, summer wine, definitely.
Portugal is with a V, Albarino, right? For
Yes,
America.
yep.
Just so you know, when you see the V on the Portugal, it's the same grape, right?
Yes.
It's different.
The grape is exactly the same, but the soil, the way that the soil affects and the weather condition is amazing how it makes this different tasting and style and unique. Something that I would say is that if all the people that are trying today Albarino, if it's the first time for them, they are not going to forget this kind of taste. Even with our wine or with another Albarino from Spain, is very unique, very, you don't forget this style, this kind of fruit in the mouth.
No, I agree 100%. I think you guys have, Heather, can you jump on for a minute? What did we have on our list? Was it Azarbe?
Yeah, the Azarbe Reserva.
So I think lots of people obviously were in our restaurant when it was open and had that. So maybe you could just talk a little bit about that, just to describe that for people. And then we keep that on our shelf so you guys can come in and get it and taste it.
Well, Izarbe is a Basque word. We were talking about Basque country, right? So we in Rioja, we are the oldest winery in Rioja Alavesa. So in Rioja, you have 3 regions. You have highest part of Rioja, Rioja Alta, lowest part of Rioja, Rioja Baja, and the Basque part of the Rioja region, which is Rioja Alavesa. So in that region, we are the oldest winery, the first winery, and one of the brands is Izarbe. Izarbe means under the stars. So, well, in the business, sometimes people ask me, am I under the stars because I drank the whole bottle or because it's a good quality wine? And I say, well, both, definitely both. So Izarbe comes from the oldest vines that are 75 years old. So in those vines, the production is not too much, but the high quality is there. So Izarbes is like the top wines in Rioja for us. And then we have Larchago, which is more like in an everyday wine, 45 years old wines. That's the difference.
So one more question, and then I think we'll open up to anybody else that wants to ask. But you were in Great Falls in what, about a year and a half ago or something?
Yes, yep.
Okay. Hold on, we got a loud pickup going by. We had to be outside because we have spring fever.
I love that.
Right. And you did a tasting with about, I don't know, 20 other winemakers or owners, and you made an impression on Tara and I, and we loved your wines, and that's why we put, I can't say it's Arbe like you say. How do you say it again?
Izarbe. There is only one way you can pronounce the same way. After 2 bottles of Izarbe, then your Spanish is going to be very fluent.
But it's a Z, for Pete's sake.
Yes.
Not a
People,
TH.
people say in the US and in English, people say like they pronounce like TH for them, like Izarbe. But listen, you say perfectly. I can tell you.
Well, there's a great.
It happens to me when I'm trying to say something in English and people don't understand me. I say, but it sounds like you guys. I say, no, there's nothing to do with. Okay, so I try.
So there's a grape called Mencia that looks like Mencia to us.
Yes.
I think we didn't talk about Ribera del Duero and kind of the story of that, because I think that's a completely different than Rioja, right? Tell us about Ribera del Duero.
Well, yes, Ribera del Duero. This is a story about neighbors. This is very fun. So when with your neighbors you get along, but you want to be better than your neighbor, right? So Rioja Ribera del Duero is something similar. We use the same grape, which is the Tempranillo, 100% Tempranillo, but people in Ribera del Duero they call Tinta del País. It's the same grape, but for them it's Tinta del País. It's nothing to do with Rioja. So it's like to make sure that. So it is amazing how different the wine tastes. The same grape, the Tempranillo, in Rioja, the kind of taste is something very smooth because the weather conditions are very smooth, rather than Ribera del Duero, where you have a very cold winters and very hot summers. And the soil, you have stones because it rains a lot. So it has to drain out all the water. So Ribera del Duero wines are going to be drier. They are going to show heavier because are drier, rather than Rioja, that you are enjoying more the fruit. Rioja is a dry wine, but fruitier than Ribera del Duero. So the same grape, same plant in two different regions, it's amazing how different taste. I don't know if you know this.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, just something for people to know. Many years ago, Chinese people, they came to Spain and they bought the plants. They were trying to grow Tempranillos in China and didn't happen. So for some reason, it's like the weather, the soil, the plant has to be connected in order to, have and grow the wines. Other than that, it's not gonna work.
So we're kind of getting to be wine aficionados after 15 days of tasting wine every night. So most of these people know about phylloxera, which is unusual in the world. So phylloxera is a little louse, for those of you guys who don't know. It's a little louse that attacked it's an American louse that attacked the vines of Europe and killed everything, basically. It started mostly in France and Bordeaux. And then Bordelais were wealthy at the time, and they came down and they actually stole Tempranillo, or bought Tempranillo, they didn't steal it. And then they took it back up to Bordeaux and they sold it as their Cabernet Merlot blend. So if you guys haven't tasted Tempranillo, it's a pretty interesting grape. It has the deep, dark richness of Cabernet, but not, it doesn't, I think it's more acidic and more on the lighter style of, explain Tempranillo and the taste of Tempranillo a little bit. I know we're doing Albarino, but I'm kind of really fascinated with your knowledge of Rioja and Ribera del Duero, and I love the Rio Espacio. So.
Well, what you say is right. Those days in France, when they had that disease, many of the winemakers, they came into Spain because they couldn't produce wine those days. So they came, all the winemakers here, and they taught some of the producers how to make the wine here. We will always say that, of course not. We are better producers than our neighbors, and our neighbors, they will say that they are better producers than us. So Tempranillo is similar to the Cabernet. I 100% agree. It's a very strong plant that can survive in a very poor conditions. I mean, with almost no water, with weather conditions that are not appropriate, but the plant can survive and give you this quality. Is very rich. The juice is very rich. So it's amazing how the Tempranillo evolutes when you put this in oak. And connecting with what you say about the American oak, you need the American oak to punch the Tempranillo and extract the best, and you need the French oak just to round that taste and have the very long finish, but not super or not very, very oaky taste. So Tempranillo is well, in Rioja, there are many producers, they can blend because we have other grapes. We have
I'm just going to ask
Garnacha.
you that. Is there rules on blending in Rioja? Is there a percentage that has to be Tempranillo?
Yes, I mean, if you use other percentages in grapes, then you have to break down in the back of the label what you are using. In our case, our philosophy as a family is to use 100% Tempranillo. And the reason why is because it's easy for us to make sure that the vintage of vintage, you have a nice quality or similar quality. Rather than if you blend, but this is personal. Another winery will tell you that they prefer to blend. But if you blend, it's hard to maintain a regular good quality vintage after vintage.
What is the percentage you can put in of other grapes?
There is less than 5% you don't have to mention. I mean, you can experiment with less than 5%. But other than that, if you go beyond that point, then you have to break down everything. Because the Bureau in Rioja, they want to control and they want to make sure that, you know, we play.
Yeah, in California, you know, you can put 24.9% of anything else in there and still call it a Cabernet or a Pinot Noir or whatever.
Right.
And so, you know, I think Oregon's going through this thing right now where they're trying to get 100% Pinot Noir in order to call it a Pinot Noir. So I think you know, that's kind of a big issue. And one last question. I know I said that already like 4 times, but what about organic or biodynamic, or what's the movement going on in Spain in that world?
Well, producers are very, very, very concerned about that. And we all understand that, you know, the way that you take care of the vines is what people is going to drink afterwards. So it's so important to maintain, well, many people, I've been doing tastings in the US and people coming and asking me, is this wine having sulfites? I say, well, we know that we maintain those sulfites low, but the wine needs sulfites. Other than that, it's impossible to have wine at home. So when you don't buy the grapes and you grow your own grapes, it is easy to maintain all those things down. And people are very concerned and thinking that the consumer is reading the back labels. They want to know what they're drinking, and it makes sense to all of us. So that's why I think that they are trying to, you know, grow the plants in that way, in very healthy, but with the minimum parameters that allow to maintain the wine at home. Other than that, is impossible.
Right. All right. I think we should let you go to bed. Even for a Spaniard, you must be tired by now.
I'm good. I'm very used to this. I'm telling you, Spanish people, all we do is drinking wine and going out, but now we cannot do that. So we can do it indoors.
Exactly. We were talking earlier today, Javier and I, and he said, all we can do is go to the store and back again. And we're,
that's right.
And you're very social people. I mean, I've been there quite a few times.
That's the problem. I mean, it's tough for everybody, but keeping Spanish people at home, not going out to the bar and having a glass of wine is almost like killing them. So everybody is like, you know, it's hard to call somebody because they are in a very bad mood. So I mean, calm down, okay? I mean, we will go out, we'll have fun again, no worries, relax. So, but yes, we have to stay home. There is no way for us to get out, only get into the supermarket, buying essential things and coming back home. So that's the situation that we have to go through. And
all right, I promise this is the last question, the last statement. So see, I have a ponytail.
Yep.
And I was in Logroño in a bar in Spain one night, and this old guy, he was inebriated, and I don't speak Spanish and he didn't speak English. And all of a sudden he just comes up to me, he just puts his hands like right on my shoulders like this, and he just starts talking to me in Spanish and like yelling at me. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know what, he wasn't being, you know, threatening, but he had something to say that he just wanted to make sure I knew. And finally I said, there's a couple of guys at the bar that spoke English, and they said, what have I done? They said, well, he thinks you should go to the Barber of Seville, being funny. So and then he was very nice. He bought us a drink afterwards. But the Spanish people are so fun, and they're so engaging and so demonstrative. Like, I think you and the Italians are completely different from the French, where, you know, when you go to France, everything's quiet and you know, whatever, completely different. I love the French too, but it's a
Right,
whole
yeah.
world. So we have to come visit you, Javier.
Well, I was telling you when we were talking, and I always invite all my people, and whoever is tasting with us tonight, whoever is listening to me, and they are, because usually, as I was telling, it's very fun. You start these tastings talking about, you know, some aspects about the wine, and you end up talking about, well, my niece is studying in Spain. We are going to go on vacation to Spain. So if you know all of them and they want to come and visit us, I am always happy and open to show the culture, to taste with them wines, to explain at the winery. So we are this, we're family, we're wine, we are social. So I invite everyone to, if they are planning to come in Spain after all this thing goes away, I invite them to come visit us, and I'll show them our culture and the wines.
Javier, we can't wait to have you in Montana again. And we would definitely plan a trip there. And yeah, it's so fun. And you've been nothing but a gem and happiness into our quarantined world. And thanks for bringing it. Hopefully we've been a little bit of a social outlet for you Spaniards that are so social people. So yeah.
Absolutely. And the good thing about the quarantine, as you say, is that we have wine. This is the good thing.
Right. And we have a lot of your wine in our store. And come
That's
support
right.
Javier in the next week, or Javier. Sorry, is it Javier?
Javier, yes.
Javier. All right. I can't say all those Spanish words. All right. Unless anybody has anything else, we're over and out. And thank you so much again. Bye.
Thank you for having me.
Cheers.
Yes.
Javi.
Hopefully, yes, cheers.
Joey
Hopefully,
left.
I'll see you soon, either here or in the US.
Thank you, Javier.
Thank you. Take care. Thanks a lot.
Good night.
Thanks. Good night. Bye.